All right, everybody, we are all set up here for episode 18. We're now on episode 2 of the virtual setup here. Max, how are we feeling today?
Pretty good. I've been working a ton lately, but excited to record. There's been some pretty big headlines, some football. We're going to talk a little football today. Obviously, season is what, 2 weeks away? 3 weeks away?
Three weeks away.
I think 2 weeks from college, 3 weeks from NFL. So we're getting there. We're getting close.
Yeah, for our first NFL game is September 7th. The official start is that Lions versus Chiefs game on Thursday Night Football at 8:20. So I think I speak for both Max and I. We are so pumped up for that. So staying within the topic of football, one of the more bigger topics that broke news this week. Everyone's favorite story when we were kids, Michael Oher and the Blind Side. Michael Oher has came out and said that the Tui family, who was supposedly adopted him in quotes, made so much money off of his life story, and that a bunch of it was a fugazi lie. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of people, they were just surprised to hear that it was a conservatorship and not an adoption. Like, that alone is crazy. But on top of that, like, maybe it was just because I was younger when I watched that movie for the first time, but like, they portray him as just like the dumbest sack of shit in human existence. Like, the way they portray him in that film, Sandra Bullock has to come down onto a practice field and teach Michael Oher how to literally like physically impose himself against someone. When
yeah.
Michael Oher came to live with the Tui family, he was already an All-American going into his senior season of football. And I think for a lot of people in our generation, where we watched that movie for the first time when we were probably what, 10, 11, 12 years old, you know what I
Yep.
mean? It
Yep.
it wasn't really an accurate portrayal whatsoever. And I didn't know this personally, but I guess years ago Michael Oher came out and said that he wasn't very happy with the way he was portrayed, which rightfully so. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
between football, school, everything, they made it seem like this family was like his savior and he wouldn't have accomplished anything without them. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's really interesting because I'm just surprised we haven't heard his side of the story to date. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Especially
I
when
think.
he wasn't profiting off that film, and this family is supposedly making millions of dollars in royalties, and
Mhm.
they adopted him with what seems like now the intentions of having him go to the school that they were major boosters for. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just like it's sad. It's really sad, to be totally
Mhm.
honest. Sandra Bullock won an Oscar for that performance, and now, not to take anything away from her, but now we know that entire story is a complete embellishment. And
Yeah.
on top of that, you have millions of kids, whether they're white like us and are perceiving the story from like kind of there's a theme in Hollywood of like a white savior, or you have like impoverished or minority children who are led to believe that you need some type of savior. And I think that was the point of Michael Oher's book that just came out, was that you can accomplish things on your own. You don't have to wait to be saved. I did this myself. Don't let other people convince you otherwise. So it's just really sad.
Yeah. My biggest question mark is after all this time, why now come out with it? Because I mean, obviously he knew about the movie, he knew about the story. It was his life. It's one of the biggest movies I think of
Yeah,
the early decades that we've been alive. I mean, I think maybe he thought that the NFL money would carry his royalties. I don't know. I don't know.
I
I
think
don't know if he
so.
wanted profit in the movie.
His claim was that he just recently found out that it was a conservatorship, which basically gave the Tubies the power to make all his business decisions, eh, profit off of him as well. Um, One of the Tuies, I think the little kid who's now a full-grown adult, went on a podcast. I want to say it was a Barstool podcast, and he claimed that Michael knew about that all along. I mean, it's just going to take time and evidence and investigation for the real, like, true story to come out. But
Hmm.
regardless whether it was now, it was 5 years ago, it was 10 years in the future, it still doesn't really make up for the fact that this family seemingly took advantage of an extremely talented person who escaped a terrible childhood and did that mostly on his own. And that's not the way the story was perceived in public. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it said that Michael signed when he was a senior the conservatorship papers, and the Tuohys pretty much told him that there was no difference between those and adoption papers.
Which
So
just isn't true.
yeah, and it's not true. I mean, it's just kind of a
And
sad story to come out
yeah,
too, just because that's
and
such a feel good movie.
And the worst part about that claim that they're basically the same thing is they said they did the conservatorship because he was almost 18 and there would be no point in adoption. And the real benefit was helping him out with NCAA eligibility. Let me tell you
Yeah.
something. Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, Les Miles, whoever was coaching, Lou Holtz back in the SEC in the 2000s, they're taking an All-American left tackle no matter what his eligibility is looking like. They're going to find a way to make it work. He didn't
Hmm.
need, obviously the Tuohys helped him out, and he's even gone on record saying there were other families that helped him out like earlier on throughout high school. So they're
Hmm.
not like not to take away from maybe some of the help that they did give him, but he had other help along the way. And
Yeah.
it's not like he wasn't doing his part and working as hard as he possibly could to get to where he was, which is an
Hmm.
8 year NFL veteran with an established.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Michael really came out to be, you know, the best NFL player ever, but I mean, that's not his story. His story is how he got there, and it's just sad to see now that that's kind of the actual truth behind it. Because I mean, they did portray him as an idiot in
I
the
mean, they
movie.
made him look like an idiot. They
Yeah,
made
like
him
he
they made him look like he'd never played a snap of football before, which was so far beyond the truth. He was already one of the best high school football players in the entire country.
like I don't think Mrs. Toohey was running out there and showing Michael how to block. Like I don't
Yeah,
I don't think
she wasn't grabbing him by the face mask and teaching him pass pro. She's not.
mid practice too.
Yeah, I mean it's
Maybe that's
ridiculous.
just the Hollywood part, but
I
I
think in
mean,
hindsight, watching that movie back, it's actually a comedy. It's no longer a drama about a heartwarming family story. Watching some of those scenes back nowadays is probably hilarious because you just see all the lies and embellishments and how untrue everything is. So. I mean,
it just sucks though.
the realest scene in that entire movie at this point is when he's being questioned by an NCAA official about his recruitment and his relationship with the Tuohys. Like it's just flat out ridiculous.
I it's just like I I hate that the story came out. I know it's obviously good for Michael, but I hate that was such a good feel good movie, and now
Yeah,
it's gonna be a
I
little
get what you're saying. You don't hate that news has come out. You hate the
yeah
reality of what was once a good situation is
exactly
now one of the greatest
because
lies in the history of sports and entertainment.
the movie's never gonna be the same. It's never gonna be the same.
No, absolutely not.
It's not gonna have the
Absolutely.
same feel. It's I mean, poor Michael Oher, man. Just
Yeah.
that's all I got to say about that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like they said they got the movie paid the Tuohys and their two children 225 grand plus 2.5% of the film's net proceeds. And then
Which it was
the
over a
movie,
$300 million movie. So
yeah, and
2.5% of that is a lot of money. A lot of money. Oh, I don't know.
I
Probably
just
around
don't
10.
see like, yeah, I don't know.
And it's not like these people were poor to begin with. Like the dad
The house
was
is massive.
yeah, and the dad owned a million Taco Bell franchises. I don't know if you remember that from the movie, but I don't know.
Yeah, they had
It's
so much money already.
so much money. They were boosters. They were one of the largest boosters for Ole Miss. I
If
mean,
that's the case, why would you not set up a plan for money to go to Michael?
literally. It's because
Like,
some people are just too rich for their own good, to be totally honest.
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
Um, moving on to
yeah.
hopefully a more or less saddening topic. We have what? NFL win totals?
Yeah, so we're going to be going into NFL win totals. Max is going to give me the lines for the AFC teams, and then I'm going to give him the lines for the NFC teams. If we're thinking maybe over or under or kind of on point, we'll talk about it a bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, so you want to start us off,
We're
Max?
gonna be we don't have an official betting sponsor, maybe one day once we've graduated college and stuff like that. But we're gonna use the FanDuel lines.
Yep.
Neither Ethan or I bet, so we don't really know. We don't know the most about betting, but we'll try our
We're
best
just looking at
here.
the numbers.
Yeah, we're just looking at the numbers here. So starting out, I think there's only one way you have to go with this first one if you know their history. Pittsburgh Steelers line is at over under 8.5 wins.
I'm 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 taking that over, man. I'm
You have
never
to.
just
Mike
giving Tom.
Tomlin's never had a season below 500. You know what I mean?
I I think they're starting to get out of kind of the down years as well. The post AB. I know they had that one year where they when we beat them in the first round of the playoffs, they were like I think it was like 12-0 to start the year, and then they lost like the last four games, and then
Yeah,
we beat them 28. We were winning 28 to nothing in the first
yeah.
quarter. I'm gonna err on the side of caution. I'm hammering that over just because I Mike Tomlin's Mike Tomlin. I think they'll always figure out a way to win games. So I think 8.5 is a little too low for them.
All right. Second team here is the Buffalo Bills at 11.5 wins.
Ooh. Do I think they can do it? Yes. Is that line a little bit high? Yes. I think I would more so go like 10
Oh,
and a
I'm
half.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was 10.5 wins. I was looking at the
Okay,
wrong
yeah, I was gonna say I think I would go with the over on this one. I
for
think
10 and a half.
within the Josh Allen era and how their team's built, I think they're just a team that's built to win over 10 games. Um, kind of been doing it before. I don't know what their strength of schedule looks like, but they always seem to win the games they're supposed to, and then I don't know though, because now you got the Jets, now you get the Dolphins.
The division is so tough. That's the only thing that scares me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get
But
what you're saying.
moving on here, the favorite probably to win the AFC, Kansas City Chiefs at 11.5 wins.
I'm taking that over. I think the floor for the Chiefs nowadays is 12-5. I'm
For
taking
sure.
I'm taking the over on that one. I mean, interesting loss to the Colts last year, but other than that, I really didn't think they lost another game they weren't supposed to or who they were supposed to beat. Um, I would say
Listen,
most teams.
you don't have to explain for me. We can just move on. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. We know who they are.
Yeah,
Same exact line here, but for another team in the AFC. Cincinnati Bengals also sitting at 11.5 wins. I want to say they finished with 12 last year. Do you like them to go get 12 again, or are you looking at an under here at 11.5?
I'm taking the under on this one. I don't think the Bengals have as good of a year. I think the last 2 years were too good of years to be true. I think you need to get hit with a little bit of some roadblocks and some injuries this year. Um, their defense obviously got worse. They don't have as much depth. Joe Mixon's getting older. I mean, all you really need is Joe Burrow and that receiving core. I've been hearing that Lyle Collins, their big offseason signing, has been in a battle for that tackle spot. So I know he's also not even fully healthy either. So
Yeah.
I think they lost more than they gained this offseason. So I'm going to go under.
All right. Next team, probably the favorite in the AFC South. They're sitting at exactly 10 wins for their line. So you could see a push here for the Jags. 10 wins over under on the Jags.
I'm going over because they're going to play. I think they can win 6 games in their division. I think they can sweep every team they play in their division. Um, maybe the Titans will steal one, but I think even within division play, I think getting you halfway there, and just your division games will get you that win total. Um, Maybe I'm being overzealous about it, but I think I would go over.
The next team I'm looking at here, actually, I'll go with three-parter here because I think all these teams are pretty similar as far as talent, coaching. Across the board, I see them all as like having pretty similar finishes. You tell me what you think. You've got the Ravens, the Jets, the Chargers, all at 9.5 wins going into this season.
That's tough. I think the Jets will do it. I think the Jets will do it. The Ravens, I can't say because it depends if they're healthy or not. Um, and then the Chargers, they remind me of the Ravens too, just health. Health is a big, big question. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's why the lines are set so low as well.
I would say if I had to bet on just like finishes for all three of those teams, I'd put the Jets number one to finish the best, and I'd probably put the Ravens last just because there's so many question marks with health across the
Yeah.
board. I mean, Lamar hasn't played a full season since his sophomore campaign.
Right.
OBJ is probably going to be your trademark receiver. We know he doesn't play a lot of games. The defense is getting older, and you don't have a lot of sustainability there. And the Chargers, it's just a matter of they can win close games because they played in a lot of close games last year. They just couldn't get it done. Keenan Allen was hurt throughout the year, Mike Williams as well. You had injuries to Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, a lot of guys on that defense. So
Mhm.
for all of these teams, it's going to be a matter of health. But if I had to bet on one, it would be the Jets, just because of how good they've been for so, or not how good they've been, how good Aaron Rodgers has been for
Big
so
Ben.
long.
Yeah. I
Uh,
I think the Ravens is just I think the one that specifically worries me, just given with their history. I mean, I can also see them winning 12 games if Ogler's right. I could see them winning
yeah.
12 games, just how they are.
Um, the next team I've got here, they have the same line, but I don't know if I'd put them on the same tier as some of those other teams. I think they have a really high ceiling if all goes well. The Miami Dolphins are also set at 9.5 wins. I could see them being that last wild card team, but I'm not entirely sold on them.
I'm I'm gonna go under on this one. I'm gonna go under. I know you have Tyreek Hill. I know with Tua they look amazing. Um, I I don't know. I think the whole thing with Tua last year scares me. And if I'm making an investment into a 17 game season, I'm trying to think about health, specifically from your quarterback. And I mean, I know he's in an off season to get right, but I think that division is so good. I think the Patriots can even steal a game from them this year. I
For sure. I mean, when was the last time the Dolphins swept the Patriots in the regular season? It's probably been a
exactly.
very long time.
Yeah, and then they can get swept by the Bills. They could even get swept by the Jets. I think this whole division is going to be such an interesting one to watch.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a war of attrition in the AFC East. It's just going to come down to who can be healthiest throughout the end of the year and who's going to be in a position to make a playoff run come
Hmm.
November, December, especially
For sure.
late in those months.
For
Um,
sure.
the very next team, also the same exact line. I am hopeful that you're going to take the over here. Our Cleveland Browns set at 9.5 wins going into the season. I think that's a generous line, but I think they can finish 10-7.
I want this to be over so bad. I want it to be over so bad. Um, our schedule is really tough this year, though. I realize that. Like we have a tough schedule, especially within our division and then out of division. There's no like last year we had like a good 2 3 week stretch where it was like, okay, we can go 3-0 here. It's
Yeah,
kind of like we have a bad opponent here, and then it's like, okay, we played the Niners then, and it's tough. I think you have to win those tough games. I mean, with how it's been with the Browns for the last, I guess you could say 4 or 5 years, um, those kind of games have just always been like you go in not confident and then maybe you get surprised. But I mean, the team looks so much better this year. Um, Running back depth kind of scares me. Kicking depth scares me. K York scares me.
yeah.
Um, I'm taking the over. Taking the over.
All right. As we move down the line, kind of towards some of these bad teams, I'll just have you give me some quick hitter over unders. We'll go rapid fire here. Denver Broncos 8.5 wins.
Under. I don't
New
trust Sean
England
Payton.
Patriots 7.5 wins.
Over.
And if you really want to elaborate, feel free to.
Okay.
Tennessee Titans 7.5 wins.
Over.
Raiders 7.5 wins.
Under.
Colts 6.5 wins.
Under. I think they get like 4 or 5.
I agree. I think they're going to be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes potentially, even though
They just
they
got
took
AR.
Anthony
He
Richardson.
just got AR. He's your
I
starter.
Yeah. No Minshew mania in Indianapolis. And then the very last team in the AFC, the Houston Texans, also set at 6.5 wins.
I'm going under.
All right.
Going under. I think there's some growing pains of Stroud.
Is there any teams where you're like extra confident with the over, extra confident with the under?
Yes, and we're right about to get into that on your section in the NFC.
Okay.
Not in the AFC, though. Okay. Starting off with the first team coming out of the NFC Beast, the Dallas Cowboys at 9.5.
Oh, I'm definitely taking that over. I think they have a chance to win that division, to be totally honest. This
I
is
think
one
so
of the
too.
best. I think it's one of the best Cowboys teams we've seen in our life. You know what I mean? Tony Pollard fully unleashed without Zeke, I think is going to just be a monster for them. Dak Prescott, like, he's always been a guy who's taken care of the ball. I think his turnovers last year were kind of an anomaly, and I don't expect him to have 14 interceptions or whatever he had the season prior. CD Lamb's only going to get better. It is second year as the wide receiver one, I believe.
Yep.
Um, I think Brandon Cooks is a really smart veteran signing as a wide receiver 2 or 3. Michael Gallup's going to be fully healthy this season. Obviously, that O line is always phenomenal. You have a Hall of Famer playing right guard and Zach Martin, Tyron Smith. A lot of the other tackles and guards and center are all very solid linemen. That position group's easily top 7 or 8 in the NFL. And then we saw last year that was one of the best defenses in the NFL. And they're still young. They still have guys that should get better. I don't see that defense taking a regression. I think they'll stay the same or they'll get better. I think 9.5 is honestly kind of insulting for that Cowboys team,
Yeah.
considering they had, 13, 12 wins last season? They're a really good team. And even though it's the Cowboys, they're a Super Bowl contender in my eyes. 9.5 wins in a bad NFC and in a division where you get to play the Giants. I know the Giants were a playoff team, but they're still the Giants. And the Commanders 4 times in a year. I'm definitely taking the over.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that was a little insulting. Maybe that one's one I'm a little confident on too. Next, we're going with the San Francisco 49ers at 10.5.
I'll take the over. I mean, we've seen how many times do we have to see the Niners just recycle QBs and they figure it out? You know what I mean? I think they started off the year 2-2 last year and they won 10 straight or something like that with a combination of Garoppolo and Brock Purdy. Honestly, even if Sam Darnold's playing to start the year and Brock Purdy's out, maybe it's Trey Lance, I think they're going to be fine. Kyle Shanahan's a genius. There's too many weapons on that offense for them to be bad, and they're still the best defense in the NFL.
Yep.
And guess what? Outside of a guy that wears 15 on the Kansas City Chiefs, they may have pound for pound the best player in the NFL named Trent Williams. He's an absolute monster, and I don't know how, he's in his mid-30s, but it feels like he's still getting better every year, which doesn't make any sense at all. So I'm definitely taking the over on the 49ers. I'm not one of the people that think they would have manhandled the Eagles if Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt in that game, but there's a world in which they could have gone to the Super Bowl last year with a guy who was drafted last in the NFL draft. You know what I mean? This team just recycles talent and find ways to win. Give me the over.
I'm right there with you on that one as well. So, all right, moving into our next one, we're at the Seattle Seahawks at 8.5.
So the thing with me with the Seahawks, I feel like they slightly overachieved last year.
Hmm.
I don't think Geno Smith's going to be bad, but I'm not sure if he can replicate the type of year he had in 2022. On top of that, I think their defense kind of outperformed expectations. You get JSN to kind of be the heir apparent to Tyler Lockett, it seems like, a really good slot receiver who runs great
Hmm.
routes. I This is a really good line in my opinion because I could see them. Their range for me is like 8 to 9 wins, to be
Hmm.
totally honest. I'm gonna take the under though, only because they took care of business against the Cardinals last year, which I think they'll do again. But I'm a little higher on the Rams coming in this year than some people are. And it kind of feels like Sean McVay has his number sometimes on those Seahawks teams. I like the Rams going into this year if they can stay healthy. I think they get at least one of those games, maybe two from the Seahawks. The Seahawks finished second in that division last year, which means they're going to have a harder schedule than some teams. I'm going to say they finish right at 8 wins and go
Hmm.
under, but I could really see that going either way.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned it though, like going into the next one, Rams 6.5. I love that.
I'm taking the over.
That's
100%
my
I'm taking the over.
100%, I think. Stafford back, cut back. You still have
The,
Aaron
the
Donald.
The only thing that blows that line for me is if Stafford is really as hurt as we think he is and he continues to kind of show his age. Because elbow surgery for an aging quarterback is never really a great sign. But if you can get top 14, 13, 12 QB play out of Matthew Stafford, which he's shown a complete ability to do throughout his entire career, I think they finish well over that line, and I like them to maybe be a wild card team this year, a sneaky wild card team.
Hmm. Agreed. Okay, going next, the dumpy Chicago Bears at 7.5.
Um, I think there's a lot of Justin Fields Bears hype lately, and to be totally honest, they could finish under at 7 wins, which I think they will. I'm going to say under, and that'd still be a major improvement from the season prior. I mean, you were the worst team in the NFL last year. Going from 3 wins to 7 wins is a complete improvement. They got Tremaine Edmonds from the Bills and probably their biggest free agent signing. They're raving about their rookie tackle who's been outstanding for them. Obviously, DJ Moore is going to be a great addition. Khalil Herbert, one of my fantasy sleepers, was named the RB1 in that offense. But I think there's still some question marks, obviously, with Justin Fields as a passer. Like, yes, he's a phenomenal runner, but we've seen QBs who can run the ball really well before and maybe can't put it together in the pocket as a great passing QB. You also
Hmm.
don't have the best weapons in the world. DJ Moore's an upgrade from what you had, but he's still not great. The O line might be improved, but it's still young and inexperienced. And that was one of the worst defenses in the NFL last year. So I'm going to say the under, but guess what? If you're a Bears fan, 6 or 7 wins is a
You take
major
that.
improvement from what
You
you were
take that
last.
for sure. Next line. This seems incredibly high to me. Falcons at 8.5.
Oh, I'm taking the under on that.
Eight and a half is way too much.
I don't think there's much more to say. Like Desmond
You have
Ritter,
Desmond Ridder?
Desmond Ritter doesn't turn the ball over. He makes smart decisions, but a lot of guys on that team got injured. They had a terrible front seven last year. They went out and got like Calais Campbell and Bud Dupree, who are both old and get injured pretty frequently. Jesse Bates was probably their best signing, in my opinion. I think he'll help out that secondary a lot. Maybe you get a bounce back year from AJ Terrell. But the only justification I would see for an over is if you think they take advantage of all those weak division opponents throughout the year. But I think that division's just going to beat up on each other, and somebody's going to come out of there as an 8-9, 7-10, 9-8 division winner. But personally, I don't think the Falcons are that team, so I'm going to go under.
It's fair. Next team is the Jordan Love led Packers at 7.5.
This one's so tough, man. I I'm going to go under. And that's only because I don't think they have the offense to compete in like games that are coming down to the wire. I mean, that's the worst receiving core in the NFL, probably outside maybe the Houston Texans. Christian Watson's your wide receiver one, Romeo Dobbs, wide receiver two. I don't see more than 7 wins coming out of them. They're kind of like the Seahawks, where I could see them finishing just below their line at 7 wins.
No, I get that completely. Okay. So now moving into our next team, we're going with the Detroit Lions at 9.5.
Oh, that's so generous. Give me the over. I'm too high on the Lions this year not to take the over. I mean, they got 9 wins last year, but still missed the playoffs. They bounced Aaron Rodgers in that Week 18 matchup. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I love Jahmyr Gibbs. We talked about Jared Goff last episode and how underrated he can be. They're, it's all going to depend on the defensive improvement because they were hands down one of the best offenses in the NFL last year, but that defense was so terrible it prevented them from winning a lot of games. And Jack Campbell is the type of guy who could make a big impact on that defense eventually. But in year one, are you expecting him to be the type of player that's going to transform the defense? I don't know. They also get C.J. Gardner-Johnson from the Eagles, who's a great safety last year. I would argue that he kind of outperformed in a contract year what he's going to give you annually, if that kind of makes sense. I think there will be some regression to the mean with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Obviously, they traded their first round pick a couple years ago, Jeff Okudah, to the Falcons for next to nothing. The corner room really isn't great. The pass rush isn't awesome. I'm a little lower on Aiden Hutchinson going into year two than some people are. I think his pass rush skill set, say that 5 times fast, his pass rush skill set isn't necessarily fully developed. I think a lot of times he's just going in like head down, arms out, just trying to do his best. He could make major improvements going into this year, but there's still some really weak spots in that defense. I don't question the offense at all. I love Dan Campbell as a coach. I'm glad they stuck with him through a 1 or 2 win season a few years ago because I think he's the guy for them. I am going to take the Lions. Part of that is my homerism as a Browns fan for rooting for teams that are historically bad. But give me the over. I'd like the Lions to be good this year, be a playoff team. I'm going to take the over and not think twice about it.
Yeah, that's fair. Now going into the division rival, the Minnesota Vikings set at 8.5 wins.
I'll go over. I think the division's so weak, and Kirk Cousins wins games against bad teams, and he takes care of business. I'll take the over. Not much more to say about it.
Yeah. Okay, so then these couple teams, quick hitters, not much to say. Giants 7.5.
I'll go over.
Okay. Commanders 6.5.
Under.
Arizona Cardinals 4.5.
The line is so low. It's so low that you almost want to go over. It's going to depend on how much Kyler plays, and I'm gonna assume he doesn't play much. I'll take the under.
Okay, this one you can obviously elaborate more on. Eagles at 11.5.
Over. I like the Eagles to win that division. Give me the over. I'm going back to the Super Bowl.
Saints 9.5. Over.
Here's the thing. I'm going to take the over because that division is so weak. I think they're the most well-equipped to win it. But I could also see them winning that division with 9 wins. You know what I mean?
Agreed. That's how it was last year, too, as well. Going into the next, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 6.5.
I'm going to say under. I think they finished right at 6 wins. But I think they'll be better. I think they'll play games closer than some people are giving them credit for at the beginning of the year.
I mean, they still got weapons. It's just that defense is old, and yeah, I'm not seeing much of that. But
yeah.
All right, well, that's all we got with that. So those were our predictions for the NFL win totals for the upcoming season. Like we said, we just cannot wait for it. So now coming into this, and while Max gets it set up, we're going to be doing something a little different. Now that we have video, we're going to share a screen and we're going to complete a Sporkle quiz. This is going to be on the history of the Madden covers. So Max and I have been big Madden fans, and obviously the newest Madden just came out this week, which I've heard great reviews about that Madden, by the way.
Yeah.
I've heard
And very timely as well, considering Madden just came out this week. So
yeah.
I think we should work in reverse order. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
I think we should start with this year's Madden and work our way back, if that makes
Okay. Do you want to do like a you go first, then I'll go, and then if I have trouble or you have trouble, the one of
Yeah. That works. So I'll start this year. Everybody knows Josh Allen, this year's cover athlete.
Yeah.
There's 2 cover athletes in 2022. I'll let you name both of them. I don't think you should have any problem.
Mahomes and Brady.
Yes, sir. Mahomes, also 2020 for Mahomes.
Also
I think we're gonna get a few Brady years here too. Yeah, 20. Oh,
yeah.
That's surprising that Brady's only been the cover athlete twice. You would have thought in like 2012, like late 2000s, early 2010s, he would have been the cover athlete too. 2021, one of my favorite Maddens ever, Lamar Jackson, cover athlete.
Yeah.
Now 2019, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That is it Mr. AB?
That is Antonio Brown, indeed.
Mr. AB.
He was probably the greatest proponent of the Madden curse of all time. Remember?
Yes.
He's the Madden cover, then he got traded to the Raiders and all that drama, and
that was insane.
Like a month or two, and then he was on the Patriots. That was a shit show, to say the least.
I can't believe that. Yeah.
So 2017 Patriots, I think that's Gronk. I gotta type it here.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll just let me type in Gronk. That would be nice. Yep, there we go. Rob Gronkowski, 2017.
2016, we talked about him 2 episodes ago. OBJ.
Wouldn't let me type in. Okay. 2015 Seahawks. I think that's Richard Sherman. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
this was the anniversary. Was this the anniversary one?
Yes, this is Madden 25.
So this was Barry Sanders.
Oh, we also get Barry Sanders for
2001. And then AP?
Yes, I think it's Adrian Peterson.
I think so.
Yep, there we go. Okay. And then 2013 Lions, I believe, is Calvin Johnson.
Yep.
The Lions have a surprising amount of Madden cover athletes for how bad that franchise has been for the last couple decades.
2012, the only Browns cover of our lifetime. This is Mr. Peyton Hillis.
Yeah. And then 2011 Saints is going to be Drew Brees. If it'll ever load.
This 2010 Madden was one of the first ones that I got. I played it on Wii, and this was Larry Fitz and Troy Polamalu.
Yep.
You didn't put a Z bus.
Yeah. Let's see if I can spell Polamalu. First try.
Oh.
First try. Beautiful. So 2009 is Brett Favre. I remember that. So that's the year he got traded to the Jets. And then
this is where we get tough.
Do you know 2008? Because I do.
Oh! Is it Andre Johnson?
Not Andre Johnson.
Give me a second. CJ2K.
Yes, CJ2K.
Yes, I'm actually so happy I got that. I'm so happy.
Wait, maybe it is Andre Johnson.
Well, it would have been Johnson for both.
Oh yeah. Who is the 2008 Titans player? I'm so confused now. I'm trying to think back. I swear it was Chris Johnson. Let me type in the full name. What?
Is it not? I don't think his nickname.
Who the hell was playing for the Titans in 2008? It's not Eddie George.
No.
Oh, Eddie George, I got 2001 Titans. Let's move on to the Seahawks. I know the Seahawks in 2007. That's gonna be Sean Alexander, and then
Sean Alexander. This is Eagles 2006. Is this Donovan McNabb?
I think it might be. Yep,
Oh, okay, okay.
2005 Ravens. I'm gonna guess is Ray Lewis, but it might be Ed Reed. Yep, it's gonna be Ray Lewis.
Is
2004
this is this
Falcons.
is this Mike Vick?
Yes, most iconic Madden player of all
Okay.
time. The Rams in 2003. I'm gonna guess is Marshall Faulk. Yep, and
Okay.
then
Vikings. Oh, Dante Culpepper?
no, I think 2002 on the
Randy
Vikings.
Moss?
Yes, I think it's gonna be Randy Moss, or maybe it won't be Randy Moss.
Um,
2002 on the Vikings. You said Dante Culpepper? It is
oh.
Dante Culpepper. What a fool! Okay, the 2008 Vikings or the 2008 Titans is actually like messing with my brain right now. So I feel like we absolutely should be able to get that. It's
Oh
I
my, wait.
don't think it would be Steve McNair.
No, 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 no. Try Vince Young.
It is Vince Young. All right, we go 100%
Oh,
there. A little trouble with the Vikings, but other than that, I think
we
we
actually,
might have
I'm not
to.
gonna lie to you. We did so much, but like, well, I knew you were gonna do good, but for me personally, I did not think I was gonna do that well,
You have
especially
the
with
two
those issues.
best pools. You have the two best pools by far.
I
Um,
only remembered Vince Young because of it's that kind of that iconic cover. It looks weird. Kind of looks a
yeah.
little strange, but
We'll have to bring back some Sporkle quizzes
yeah,
sometime
that was
soon.
fun. Yeah, I would love to do some more of those. That's great. Okay. All right. So then now, finishing up with our favorite weekly topic, besides Top Three Tuesday, it is something good, something bad. I'll lead us off with the first one. Um, First, I would say something good. Obviously, I'm back on campus. I'm back doing my thing. I would just say I'm very, very happy with where I am right now. I think just seeing everybody getting to work back at my job has been great. Then I would just say something bad. I would say leaving friends like Max and my family back home at Cleveland. I'm not going to see them fairly as often this year. So I would just say it's a little bad that I just can't see, you know, people I
Yeah.
used to see.
I've got a double header for my something good and then for my something bad. I think with something good, something bad from now on, I might go a little less personal and a little more like current events style so we can talk
Okay.
about some stuff in the news. Something good is going to be personal though. I just got a new job,
There you go.
and one of the perks is that I get to play free golf basically whenever I want. So I'll definitely
Right,
be taking advantage of that.
right when I leave too. Right when I leave.
Yeah, right when Ethan leaves, and the best part is I get a +1 for every round that I
Uh,
play. Uh, I had another something good, but something good. I just bought a flight down to New Orleans to go see my girlfriend.
there it
So
is.
I'm
There he
excited to
is.
check out the city of New Orleans. That should be sick. Any of our
Zion
listeners, drop a
Zion
comment,
Williamson.
tweet at us. Let me know if you know any fun stuff to do down in the bayou, in the bayou. But
You're gonna have Zion. You're gonna have Zion with a little Max sign at the airport waiting for you.
yeah, and then something bad. I don't know if you saw this. It was all over Twitter yesterday or 2 days ago, and it blew my mind. I didn't see the actual clip, so I don't know if this is fake news because nowadays on Twitter you see anything and it can be real, it can be fake. Do you know who IShowSpeed is?
Yes.
Did you hear about what happened?
Yes, I did. It's very
So
unfortunate.
yeah, IShowSpeed. I'm not like a big like streamer guy. I'm gonna watch this guy on Kick or Twitch or
Yeah,
whatever
me
the
either.
hell streaming
Yeah.
platform they're on nowadays. But IShowSpeed is probably one of the most popular streamers right now,
He's top
right?
three. He's top three.
Top
Yeah.
three. Okay, Ethan might know a little bit more about like
hmm
who's popular and who's
hmm
not.
hmm
But I know who this guy is because he's just like an internet personality, and it was talked about a lot. His audience, mind you, is probably like majority like minors, like like 12 to like 16-year-old children. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
This guy, I'm not going to say do your own research, but if you want to, go ahead, do your own research. I
No,
I
don't.
I didn't go down the rabbit hole. This guy was playing a video game on stream and accidentally exposed himself to like tens of thousands of
Yeah.
viewers who were largely children.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
this is what the internet has come to nowadays.
And
This is the internet.
he puts on this front too that he's like crazy and stuff like that. And he just actually was stuck in Japan with cluster headaches. He had like a baseball in his eye because of cluster headaches. He wanted to get back into streaming. He was like, I just want to get home. I want to stream. And he gets home, and within the first couple streams, this happens. And he was so upset about it too. He was
What
upset
what
about it.
what platform does he stream on?
He's on Kick. He's on Kick.
Okay.
So that's co-owned by Aiden Ross. So Aiden Ross gets them all those deals.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the worst part about it was like I saw the headline on Twitter and I'm like, I don't even know if this is real or not. Like, I don't even know if this is like an actual thing that happened in real life or if it's just like another fabricated
Wait,
internet lie.
wait, no, 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 no. He streams on YouTube. He's
On
a YouTuber
YouTube?
right now. Yes. And I remember because I saw a meme, and YouTube is not banning him because he pulls in like 90% of YouTube's streaming, like streamer people.
I see.
And they're already fighting with Twitch and they're fighting with Kick, and Speed is the only one, so they're not banning him. And it's funny because YouTube has always been so like you saw with
No,
Steve.
that's what I was gonna. That's why I reacted that way because I
Steve
was
will
like,
do it's done too.
yeah, I was like, YouTube is like the most like you fuck up and you're gone platform. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like this is crazy.
Max and I are trying our best for just to be on YouTube's good graces for these coming years.
Yes, but you get what I'm saying. Like
Yeah,
that is actually insane.
I know.
Like actually insane.
I know. I feel bad. I feel bad for him too because yeah, you can never. That's never going away. That video is never going away.
Ever.
You just
Ever.
you gotta be extremely careful of what you're doing though. So yeah.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you're not flashing hundreds of thousands of minors on the internet.
Yeah, that's never a good thing. All right.
I mean, this blew my mind when I heard about it.
No,
I like.
it's definitely noteworthy. All right. You got anything else for us, boss?
No, that's all. I think I'm gonna come with some more current events for something good. So.
I kind of like that as well. I think I might take that approach. Maybe you could do something good, something bad, personal, something good, something bad in the world. Maybe you could do something like that. I don't know. We'll have to workshop it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
all right, well that wraps us up for episode 18. Now keep chugging along here through, and we'll see you next time.
All right.